Domitian is the only Roman emperor who took measures to fight inflation by revaluing the currency. Why did the later Western Roman emperors not do this up until Diocletian? Domitian was Roman emperor from 81 to 96 CE, and his reign, although one of relative peace and stability, became engulfed in both fear and paranoia. He was the son of Vespasian and the younger brother of Titus, whom he succeeded as emperor. Together, these three emperors formed the Flavian dynasty, which was established after the chaos of the Year of the Four Emperors. He was amazing for the empire's economy. He fixed the currency problem in Rome by revaluing the coins, initiating building projects, and securing the border. He also expanded Roman territory in the German lands and in Britain. Most importantly, he brought stability. The absolute best thing for an economy is stability. By ruling for 15 years and ruling well, he created an environment in which the Roman economy could flourish. Domitian's financial policies included the following: concealing debts to the treasury, refusing inheritances that would leave children without money, increasing expenditure, overhauling the mint by seizing bronze coin production and improving silver and gold varieties, lavish building programs, pay rise for the army. Starting with Nero in AD 64, the Romans continuously debased their silver coins. After the year 85, a debasement of the fine metals occurred, likely due to a crisis of some sort. Domitian refused to devalue coins further than they already had been, a step that would be taken by later emperors, which led to financial issues during his reign. His large expenditures on extensive building programs and a massive pay rise for the army left state finances strained even further. The managing of finances was a critical part of his reign, and he was willing to spend, whereas most other emperors were more conservative in their approach and tried to squeeze more money out of the population and spend less of it. Domitian, unlike most all other emperors, had a very hands-on approach to governmental matters. He micromanaged a lot of aspects that were usually just left to the devices of specific officials. He was big on rules and regulations, and under his rule there was less corruption and embezzlement than usual. Nowhere was this direct influence more visible than his involvement in financial state matters. In doing so, he stepped on a lot of toes, and this approach to governing was generally hated by the social elite who felt their power and authority infringed on. It was part of this animosity that would lead to Domitian's bad relations with the Senate, eventually leading to his death and ultimately to an undeserved damnation memory through which he was vilified by his successor and the senatorial elite who had hated him. This was, of course, not the sole reason for this conclusion to his life, but certainly a contributing factor. As such, it may explain in part why other emperors did not engage in such practices as often as you'd expect. Why is Domitian considered a bad emperor? Even though he increased currency value and his reign built foundations for the good emperors and the height of Roman power. Domitian grew up around imperial politics. He witnessed the Senate switch sides like the wind during the civil wars after Nero. He saw them as rich egotists with little actual value, and he wasn't wrong. Domitian was anti-Senate. He went behind their back, broke with every tradition, and completely cut them out of the government. Guess who recorded history in this period? Of course, senators. So the records we have are written by people who Domitian was personal enemies of. Therefore, the records are heavily slanted to smear Domitian. After Domitian was killed, the Senate damned his memory. His statues were taken down and the faces and all records of his reign were destroyed. But Domitian ruled for quite a long time and there was no way to get rid of his legacy, so the Senate just started writing anti-Domitian propaganda. For centuries, historians bought into this myth. They ranked Domitian as one of the worst emperors and compared him to Nero and Caligula. However, thanks to a number of historians, for example Brian Jones, in his work The Emperor Domitian, have examined his reign more closely and concluded he was a capable but autocratic ruler who overall improved the empire's position.